Whole podcast, and because I had yours connected and a mic connected, there was no sound on my. So
Wait.
I learned the hard way that I cannot connect two sound boxes like that.
You had
to
my
computer.
You had this one that I gave
I
you.
had the one that you gave me connected, thinking that if I had two microphones, that it would just make the audible a lot more pristine.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had that sounding board connected, and then I had my personal sounding board connected, sound box connected, and I did a whole podcast. You could see the visual, you could see me moving my lips, but because I connected that to the laptop, could nobody hear nothing, no matter how loud you got. So when I disconnected it and re-recorded it, you could hear everything clearly. So I was like, okay, lesson learned. Like, I'm learning it's a whole lot of
technology. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it's a whole lot. So
I had to learn that. So when Tito and them came over, we were having trouble. I was having trouble hearing like how you're talking right now. I can hear you clearly in the software. Same with mine. But because I didn't have two of these little cables, these little XLR cables, and because it was coming through this one computer,
right,
you could only hear one of us at one time. So like his audio was coming in like real, like it was sounding like he was like talking through a TV basically. So I was like, nah, no. That's the only reason. That's
what made you do all of this extra.
That's the reason why I got all this, because I was like, this is my workaround. Plus, I like streaming, so.
No, that's wisdom. And then you got two. Actually, that's really cool, because you got your own monitor and then you got your laptop. The monitor, you created that. You did that on your own too, didn't you? Like the whole setup.
I bought it
off
Amazon, and then just
made it,
decorated it how I wanted it to be. But yeah,
that's good.
And then I used the table that y'all got me.
Yeah.
Or that y'all gave me. Yeah, that's
good.
The setup for right now.
You did good.
But yeah, it's slowly but surely coming along. I plan to get a new table to take up the entire area. Yeah, because I can't have that on the ground no more.
Oh, is it because it's hot?
It just don't look pleasing to my eyes.
Oh, okay.
When I see it and then like it's on.
You're like, it's supposed to be at the top.
Yeah, and I didn't spend that much money for it to be on the floor.
Right. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. So you need a bigger table. So does it have to be black?
No, it doesn't have to be black.
Okay.
It could be whatever color I decide.
That's
but
nice.
We'll see. I gotta get a new chair, because that's the chair that Asia gave me.
And you said it's not really stable?
It's not. There's no lumbar support.
Okay.
So it's just metal.
Ooh. Okay. You need a chair.
Yeah. At my job, they got this one chair from Amazon that's like $50. So I think I'm gonna just get that, or be like, hey, can I take y'all's chair? This one? Yeah. Can I take it from y'all? They got chairs galore.
Oh, okay.
So I'll see.
Yeah, new desk, okay. You'll figure it out, because you did this in about 6 months?
Like decorate everything?
No, I'm talking about you got your studio together in like 6 months.
Give or take.
You did good, son.
Give or take. I finally came to this conclusion like couple weeks ago. I had to do some cable management up there. So then I was like, I don't know where to put this. Decorating is not my forte.
Okay.
I can tell you right there.
That's
Decorating is not, like, interior design is not my forte.
That's okay.
I should have called Xavier.
Yes, and he would have loved it. He would have loved hooking you up.
He better at this stuff than I am.
Yeah, he would love it.
I was like, this is ugly. This is ugly.
It's doable. It's doable. You're managing. And then, like you said, this is kind of like a temporary. When you get where you really want to be, that's when you'll be like, okay, it's time for me to make my mark.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Either way it goes, we are here with the friend that's not my friend, as she loved to say when I was growing up. I'm not one of your little friends, so this is the homie that's not my homie. Welcome back to another episode of the YourStory podcast with yours truly, Rodney J. Salter. Today I have my lovely mother.
Hello.
What is your name?
I am Teresa Reese.
Okay. Teresa Reese?
Yeah.
Author, writer, poet, podcaster, TikTok creator. Do you really care about your job for real?
We don't need a job.
About putting it out there.
But I do work for a multi-trillion-dollar company.
Let them know.
Worldwide known.
Multifaceted individual. A lot of the, I guess, ideas, that I have, I usually run it by her. So, except for this. Now, this is my own. I ain't run. This is me.
I'm so proud of you.
But yeah. I owe all of my all of my success, all of my a lot of the stuff that I do, a lot of stuff, my determination, right? Yeah. A lot of the stuff that I do it because I want to make my mom proud. So we are here to get her story and what it was like raising me, what it was like growing up. In the world of Teresa Reese, this is what this podcast is for. And this is how we're going to go out. But I do have, before we kick it off, before we get into all of that, I do like to have a This Week on Twitter.
Yes.
You don't be on Twitter, do you?
I'm not on Twitter, but you forgot to tell them who I am. I am the content creator of the Dear Future Hubby podcast. That would be me.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me.
Now, last time I checked, you said you were in like every country in the world?
No, I'm in 60 plus countries.
60 plus countries?
Yeah. International.
Mm-hmm. International podcaster.
Yeah.
This the one. If you want to know why I got into this.
Now, Josh took a leap of faith. Rodney is what y'all call him. He took a leap of faith, and he is doing the visual. I am known for the audio, so I'm so proud of him. I just can't say it enough because he's doing things that I aspire to do someday, and I'm just now getting my feet wet in that arena. So
look,
yes.
Man, teaching older, my mom's not old by any means, but teaching people who didn't come up in like technology, teaching them about technology is not.
It ain't easy. Because I ask like 1,000 questions. I'm constantly, he has become my mentor. So I am constantly like, son, how'd I do this? Son, how'd I do that? And you got to have patience.
It is what it is. But you're actually getting a lot better.
Thanks.
Because I was like, when I was listening to you the other day, and you're talking about the Riverside stuff, and I was like, I ain't heard of Riverside in a minute, but the simple fact that you're able to like somewhat navigate they somewhat navigate that. I was like, okay, she's actually learning something. She's getting up there.
Thank you, son.
She's getting up there. Anyways, This Week on Twitter, right? Since you're not on Twitter, I gotta put you up on game.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. So the tweet of this week has been, what old person thing do you do?
Oh, okay. What old person thing do I do? That's a really good question. So, I was just telling my son that I take more naps now. So, in order for me to stay refreshed, I take way more naps than I ever have in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And that is just so that I can be alert, because your body is telling you to sleep. So, yeah. So I guess that would be like a seasoned person thing that I do. The other thing I think that I do, I talk to the drivers. They can't hear me, but I talk to drivers when I'm driving. Like, now you know.
Oh, I was like.
Now you know. You should have put your signal on before you got in front of me.
I was like, what did he talk
do that. And, I don't know if a lot of seasoned people do that, but I know that I'm known for that. Like, now you know you should have put your blinker light on. I do that a lot. Or you know you could have hit your brakes until right now. So yeah, I do that a whole lot.
All right. I'm gonna read some of these. That's funny. I'm gonna read some of these off and let me know if you resonate with any of these. Okay. All right. First one. Turn the music down when I'm driving so I can see better closer to my destination.
Yeah, I'm guilty.
Somebody, oh man. The next one says, I remember when blank used to cost $1.
Ooh.
Yeah, inflation makes it to where that don't even exist no more.
It's not even a reality. Like I
don't think anything costs $1 anymore.
I don't think, because even the dollar store is $1.25 now. Mm-hmm, so like there is no, gas maybe?
$1.
Gas used to be 99 cents a gallon.
When?
A long time ago, but it did exist.
99 cents a gallon?
99 cents a gallon.
I saw, I was going to Walmart a while ago, and I saw, those soda machines that they usually have?
Yep.
Those are still $1.
Okay.
So those are still $1. I think Arizona tea is still like 90-something cents.
Yeah.
So other than those like two things, nothing else is $1.
Yeah.
There's no dollar menu.
No, because now it's $3.
Yeah.
Even at McDonald's, it's $3.
A McChicken is $3.
Yeah.
And I was like,
yeah. And then they said that the Big Mac is like, it used to be a fast food restaurant. Now they're maximizing on the restaurant portion. So everything is starting to be like a gourmet dish, and it's just a burger. So yeah. Just an observation.
Yeah.
Just an observation.
All right. Next one says, make noise every time I stand up, sit down, or bend over.
Ooh, I know somebody that is guilty of that. Your Nana is so guilty of that. Now, I have not gotten to that point, but when you start, tell me I'm lying. When you start being like, every single time that you stand up or you sit down,
I love my
everything
Nana.
Is a moan.
I love my
Come
Nana.
on now. So that's how you know your body bones are aching. So yeah, I haven't gotten to that point.
I did it when you were doing my hair. I was like, but that's different.
But that's different because you're tender-headed.
But no. When I was sitting down,
okay,
that's a whole different conversation.
Okay,
that's a whole different conversation. But when I was sitting down,
I
was like, I was kind of like, groaning. But that's because I be sore.
Yeah.
From working out.
That's different. I get that. Yeah, but like literally, no. Now, what I will say, before I got shots in because I have arthritis in my knees. That's part of aging, for those of you that are unaware. So, a few weeks ago, I got shots in my knees. So, I did, before I got those shots, I would make noises when I would have to get up. So, it would hurt so badly that I would be like, I have to mentally prepare myself. So, since that has happened, since I got those shots in my knees, I feel young again. I don't have to make those noises. Now I don't know when this wears off if it'll be 10 times worse, but time will tell.
I think you'll be good.
I hope so. I hope so.
Okay. Someone said, put my hands behind my back watching the news or an intense game.
I don't do that, but I just had a visual.
I'm guilty of that. When I was watching the Super Bowl and I was standing up, I was at my friend's house. I was like, they better score.
Yes.
They better come on now. I have my head on and everything. I look like somebody's stern father figure.
That is hilarious.
Next one said, ask where that baby coat when that baby ain't got no coat.
Oh my goodness, now I'm guilty of that. So like the maternal side of me, I don't know a stranger. So if I see something, I'm gonna say something, especially if it's a child that don't have a coat on and it is very cold outside. Yeah. So I'm that parent.
Yeah. I don't say where that baby coat at, but I do be like, it's too cold to be.
Yeah.
There's people who have like shorts on. They'll have, this pisses me off to no end. They'll have shorts on and a hoodie. They'll be dressed like how I am right now, but I'm in the house. Right. It's warm.
Right.
They'll have shorts on and a hoodie in 40-degree weather, and we live in Texas.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say put some clothes on.
Put some clothes on.
And that's also the season side of myself. See, the way we grew up, showing every part of your anatomy was not an option. You covered up. Nowadays, people are so proud of their glutes and everything else that they want to show the world, even if it's 20 degrees outside. I think that's TMI. But yeah.
I'm not gonna lie though. When I get these legs,
you're in the house though.
When I get these legs to where I want them to be,
you gonna be like the very people you just talked about. Okay.
I'm not in no 20-degree weather. That's not happening.
Right, because you're gonna use logic.
Not in no 20-degree weather
to cover up.
But when I get these legs to looking how I want them to look, man, you gonna see the work, anyways.
Yeah.
Anyways. Telling my kids how unoriginal their music is, then turn on the original song to prove my point.
I've never done that. So y'all have had, I believe, I mean, I can't speak for every parent, but I have really tried my best to allow y'all to operate in y'all's authenticity. To the point, I didn't know that you like country music as much as you did, but I celebrated him in that. I celebrated Josh in that. I call him Josh. Y'all know him as Rodney. And so, yeah. That's never been an issue for me. There's been times that I've sat in Teneria's car. Now I will say this, now y'all may not be ready, but one thing I will say, because I'm still a mother who wants to see their children win. So I don't believe in listening to something. If I'm gonna give you an example, if you are practicing abstinence or celibacy, I don't believe listening to sex songs is gonna help you on your journey. So I may say something to kind of like gear you in a different direction, so that doesn't become a past thought. Yeah. So yeah, I will be saying, why are you listening to that? If it's, if you're trying to walk the straight and narrow path, that's just who I am. But yeah.
Okay. Last one. I'm going to say, I say when I was your age, even hit the back in my day line. You do that? You resonate with that? Back in my day.
Right. No, but you know who does do that? Papa. Papa would tell you when he was younger and all that. Yeah, he'll give his backdrop story, but I don't.
He'll say when I was coming up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I don't really do that. Now, if I get asked, my kids know I'm an open book. So if I get asked, I will go down memory lane. Yeah, your sister.
I hit that on stream the other day.
Did you?
Because I like watching like nostalgic stuff. So I'm like, back when I was growing up, I was like, hold on.
Now you really say it. Yep.
Who am I?
And there was a song back in the day when I was young. I'm not a kid anymore. I used to every once in a while I get in that moment and I will reflect on when I was a kid, because we used to walk the railroad tracks to school.
That was dangerous.
Yeah, we did a lot of but it didn't feel like danger back then. Looking back now, we did a whole lot of things that would have been considered dangerous, because we would keep the door open and play outside, but we could trust our neighbors.
The ops would have ran down on them.
Yeah,
y'all neighbors. Yeah, that little neighborhood is like real tight knit.
Yeah,
so
it is.
I guess it pays to live in the suburbs.
That's what we call it now?
Yeah.
I mean, you think that's what it's...
It ain't the hood.
Okay, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
you're right. And your papa, his intention was to make sure that we were in a safe atmosphere. Now, could he have projected that 30 plus years later that it would still be deemed safe? I don't know. But when I say we have quality neighbors
that have been there for years.
Neighbors that have been there, families that have been connected, their children's children are connected. I can't speak for every neighborhood, but I think that he hit the jackpot when he chose that particular house. So yeah.
It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
But moving on.
Okay.
Moving on. I have a would you rather.
Okay.
This is gonna be funny because
you want to know what your mama thinks of.
Okay. So first one. Would you rather be stuck in a romantic comedy with your worst enemy or in a horror movie with your best friend?
Ah, Lord. A romantic comedy with my worst enemy. First, I would need a worst enemy. I don't have a worst enemy.
Hey, wait.
You know,
time out on the play.
I don't have a worst enemy.
Time out on the play.
Yep.
Time out on the play. So you don't watch anime, but I watched this one anime called Vinland Saga. It's basically about this young boy who his father. I'm gonna give you the rundown. Spoiler.
Okay.
It's about this young boy whose father gets killed by the enemy, right?
Whoa.
And then the boy ends up like he's like 6, maybe
right.
6 or 5 or 6 when his father dies.
Okay.
And he goes on like a revenge like streak, basically, to go after the people who killed his dad, but they end up kidnapping him, right?
Oh wow.
Right. And so the person who killed the main leader who killed the father, he ends up loosely raising this boy, right? Because he has nobody else, so he ends up loosely raising this boy, all in the hopes that he can turn
his mind around,
and then turn this boy into a tool, right?
Wow.
And what's it called? So this young kid is basically like he's killing everybody just so he can build up the strength to eventually enact his revenge for his father.
Wow.
Well, he never gets that chance.
Wow.
And then ultimately, like in the second season, he's like a slave.
Yeah.
And so his whole mindset kind of shifts as he's going down, like all the people he's killed and all the bodies he's basically like desecrated. And his mindset basically shifts into the I have no enemies mindset. So this whole first season he was like I have this main enemy to get, and then the second season his mindset shifts and he's like I have no enemies. Yeah. I just thought it was funny when he was like I gotta
no because somebody else, if you were to interview who they may consider me their worst enemy, but for me, the ugliest of things that has been done to me, the person behind that, I know is not the person behind that. I know it's a spirit. So because I know that and believe that, then I can literally still address them and deal with them on a totally different level as if they never offended me. So that's one of the reasons why I say I don't have an enemy. So, but to answer your question, if I were to go through, I would rather go through something scary with my best friend. I really, for me, it's like no matter what, that would be the scenario, because if it's my best friend, I know you got my back and I got yours. No matter how scary it is, we're gonna overcome it. So.
Okay. A little good synopsis. Okay. Would you rather be able to speak every language in the world or be able to talk to animals?
Then I could hear people talking behind my back.
Ooh.
If I knew every language.
Ooh, and there's some people in Europe who just be talking.
Yeah, and I don't know, because what am I gonna do with that knowledge?
Of talking to animals?
No. Now animals, I think I would prefer to, because talking to animals, I get to know what they think. But having and knowing every language, if I know that you're talking about me behind my back and I still got to put on that united front, like I don't hear what you're saying about me, that might be for a certain extent, I might be able to pull that off, but over a period of time, I don't think I'd be able to last. I'd end up saying something. So it'd be safer. It'd be way safer.
They'd have to see me.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So it'd be way safer for me to just be able to talk to animals. So yeah.
Ooh, but what about like? So instead of putting that united front of being like, I know what you're saying, but I'm not going to address you.
Right.
Of being you know their language, so you can technically be like, I hear everything you're saying. And basically like check them, but be like, you kill them with kindness almost. In their language.
But see, I know me. Everybody knows their limit. I know me. So I know I know how I am when someone is talking nasty to me to my face. I can only go so far with that before they see the other version of me. So if that was everybody in every language, eventually my self-control would have to take a back seat. And I like to keep my self-control intact. So yeah.
Okay.
Talking to animals.
Yeah,
cool. I think that would be a whole lot like, hey, what's up? So how you really feel while you're in the next
animals was cussing you out?
I would understand why.
Why? Nah. Why would you?
I would understand why. Because it'd be like, hey, I didn't ask for this. Y'all got clothes on. How come I can't put no clothes on? Because all animals are naked.
True.
You ain't never caught that, huh? Unless you put clothes on them. So I can understand why I'd be getting cursed out.
But we be putting clothes on dogs.
Do they like that?
No.
We don't know because they're not talking to us. Now, they do have these little buttons that you can, that they can press on now to say.
And they be cussing these people out.
Yes, we're doing this with Peace right now. Like, we ain't really acclimated him yet, but we're getting there. And so, it'll be interesting to see how he really feels about us.
I be seeing these TikToks of these dogs, and they be putting like cuss words in the buttons. B word, B word, B word. I'm like, oh my, they want to go out for a walk. But anyways,
sorry, y'all are gonna hear some slight congestion. It's a daily battle, truly daily battle.
Okay. Let's see. Let's scroll down. Okay.
Your reactions are priceless.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Would you rather end war or end poverty?
Oh, that's a good question. Because I feel like as war is taking place, it is making certain areas end up in poverty. You know what I'm saying? So I would probably rather end poverty. Yeah. I really feel like there's enough money to go around. I feel like if greed would take a back seat, a lot more people would be able to have roofs over their heads, food to eat, and clothes on their backs. And so if it were up to me, I would want to end poverty. I feel like war is that's one of those things that are inevitable. That's part of the balance of the world. I don't know why, but I don't know why, but it is. Somebody's always power stricken. Somebody's always trying to, I want this. It's the
competition things.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like until that subsides or whatever, you're always going to be dealing with whether it's an internal war or external war, you're always going to be dealing with war. Mm-hmm. But poverty, if I could eliminate that, I would.
Yeah. Being broke is not fun.
It's not.
Not in the slightest. And not understanding or not knowing when your next meal is going to be, whether you're going to be able to go out for your family or yourself. Yeah, no, that's not.
Yep.
I wouldn't wish that on nobody.
Me either.
Would you rather stay young physically or mentally?
I mean, could you imagine me being 50 years old sounding like a 5-year-old? No. Mentally, no.
You don't gotta sound like a 5-year-old.
No, but when you say youthful mentally, no. I want to mature in my mind. Physically, I would love to be youthful, but mentally, no. Like, I want to grow. I want to have wisdom and knowledge. I want to be able to, yeah. So it would be
as a 5. Are you gonna?
Because you say youth, I just think Yeah,
okay.
No, I want to be able to grow. So physically looking youthful would be great. But mentally, I always want to expound.
Okay. Last one. Would you rather visit the past or travel into the future?
I got a lot to say about my past. That's the reason why I got the podcast. So, I'm always visiting my past. Technically, I'm always doing that. Trying to just figure out why certain things were done the way that they were done. Certain mistakes that I made that I probably should have never made. Wishing that I would have had mentors. Wishing that I would have had people in my life to not just look at me from a distance and have their opinion, but to sit me down and explain to me why they feel the way that they feel. Because if I would have had a better understanding of why certain decisions should not have been made, then I believe my choices would have been different. Now, that does mean that you probably wouldn't have been here. So everything everything happens for a reason. With the devil meant for bad, God turned it out for my good.
You said,
so, there's that,
Caveat, your ass would not have been born.
There's that, so I'm just saying everything happens for a reason. So visiting my past, I done been there, done that.
That's a clip. So, that's a clip. I'm telling you that right now.
So visiting my past, I probably don't, I've already been there, did that. But my future, to kind of see what is going to happen in my future, I think that would be a nice thing. I think it would be nice to see they always say, well, I've read in the Bible that your latter is going to be greater than your former. So I would like to see the fruit of my labor. Being honest, this is one of them. Mm-hmm. So to see you, your aunt Tina brought that to my attention. She was like, in a lot of ways, your son is walking in your footsteps to a certain degree. So to be able to see you are a part of my legacy. So to be able to see you doing podcasting and you doing it so well, and you finding your niche, and then watching how you've literally taken nothing and made it into something like those, that is seeing my future. Mm-hmm. And I know that, you know, I know somewhere along the way, no matter how many bad decisions I made, you're the product of a good decision. So yeah.
Yeah, I think seeing your future is just like living in the present and keep going. So yeah. Going to the past, you hear that?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, I thought I was tripping.
No, you weren't.
Going to the past is cool, but you can only glean wisdom from there. Yeah. You know, and take something from it and then use it for your future. So yeah. I don't know if I want to go back in the past. I was reckless. I was doing dumb stuff. I think I would just be more judgmental of myself.
But you would also, so one of the advantages, and I think that we do it, whether we do it consciously or unconsciously, of going into the past, is helping people to understand, when I tried it that way, this was the outcome.
Right.
I would probably go the opposite direction now that I have that wisdom and that knowledge. You know, so that would be the only and that really is the only reason why I do visit the past, is to be, hopefully help other people not make the same mistakes, mm-hmm. or let them know, if you do take this route, this is what potentially could happen to you. If you can live with that, take your draws. But if you what? If you can live with that, take your draws. But if you feel like, oh no, I'm not gonna be able to do that, then guess what? Do better. Make better decisions. So yeah. And that's why I think I've been transparent with y'all all throughout the journey of my life, is to be like, nope, I don't want to do that. Nope, I don't want to do that. Mom did that. It didn't work. You know what I'm saying? I've tried to be as transparent as possible, even when I was making wrong decisions, so that my children could have a better outlook on life and make better decisions. You
just said I don't know if that's Texan country. You said tell your draws.
Tell your draws.
What does that even mean?
Pretty much, I don't even know, but at the end of the day, and then you gonna do what you want to do anyway. Have at it, you know. Tell your draws.
I'm dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was some Texas, because I was like, I don't even know what that means. I've been told I got a real country accent.
I hear that a lot too.
Yeah. I don't hear. I don't understand what they mean.
That's because we're from Texas, so we're not gonna know that. Someone on the outside hearing us is gonna be like,
well, no,
you from Texas,
I caught myself. I say it's tired, right? Tired, oil, and all those. Like, there's certain words, and I'm like,
the way you pronounce those
it come
words.
out. That Texan come out. I said tired the other day, and I was like, oh, Jesus.
Yeah, it's the way we pronunciate our words.
Look, I can't help it. I'm Southern. All right, it is now story time with the homie that's not my homie.
All right.
I kind of, like you like you said, you've been real transparent. So like, I kind of got the gist of who is Teresa Reese.
Yeah.
But this is on you. This is now your chance to say that on the YourStory podcast. So who is Teresa Reese? How did the Strong-Willed Mind brand come together?
Okay.
How did how did all that come to be?
So the book, A Strong-Willed Mind, Healing Scars Over Time Through My Poetry. It's the very first poetry book I ever wrote. And I found out back in 2009 that I had a tumor in my brain. And now this is what you don't know, so now you're about to find out. So what ended up happening was I had a dream. The dream had layers. So it was so intense that I actually went to a library to do research on why I was having this dream. Mm-hmm. Long story short, because that's a time for another episode, there was a poem that I ran across, and it was a lady who had wrote a poem that was similar to a poem or a passage in the book of Psalms in the Bible. However, she died before the poem was ever published. So I heard an audible voice ask me, do you want to be like that lady? And I was like, what do you mean? Do you want to die before your work is published? And I said, absolutely not. So, finding out about having the tumor in my brain, knowing that I had 6 beautiful children, knowing that I wanted to leave something for y'all, a blueprint on how to overcome adversity, tell you about my life in poetry form. I wanted to be able to leave something. So that's how the book of poetry came about. The irony of it is that I literally was asked to go to a church to tell them my testimony of how it is that I survived brain surgery, not once but twice. Because what people don't realize is that in the course of me having the brain surgery, the initial one, he went in through the front of my head, the doctor, the surgeon, the neurosurgeon, and it was the wrong way. So it made my brain swell up. Once my brain swelled up, they had to wait for it to go down. And so then it took 5 days, which is how the second brain surgery took place. And then they went behind the back of my right ear. So that's how that happened. So in the course of me going through all of that, I was asked after the surgery, because the surgery was done in 2011. So I was asked after the surgeries were performed if I would go and testify to the congregation, one of them who had prayed and interceded through that process. I agreed, and in my agreeing, prophetically, I said, a book will be birthed out of this experience. 3 years later, it was published. Excuse me. So I wrote the book for you all. It was never intended to be... I never saw the book as a gateway to podcasting. I never saw the book as a gateway to celebrities. I never saw the book as a gateway to public speaking. I literally only saw my children. So what ended up happening is, because y'all were my why, have always been my why, that's how the book got published. Fast forward, in 2017, I find out that they were doing a regular MRI to check my brain. They found out that the tumor grew back. That's how the second book, Perfect Illusions of Love, a novel, was published, or, that I wrote. It was a fictional. So the first one is nonfiction. The second one is fiction. Because when I found out about the second time, I was like, look, I need to live like through somebody else. I can't be a reality right now because it's too much. So technically, yes, I still have a tumor in my brain. But what I've learned is that just because you get a diagnosis, that doesn't have to be your end all to be all. A lot of times people get diagnosed with cancer or whatever, and then they just stop living. I decided to let that be my stepping stone, not my stumbling block. Oh, so who is Teresa Reese? So pretty much I'm a Brazilian human being. I have 6 beautiful children. They're all adult children now. Thank you, Lord.
Yeah.
That was something I prayed for. My son does not know, but when I found out about the tumor in my brain, I had a conversation with my creator, and I told him I want to live to see my children grow up to be young adults. I want to live to see my babies have their own babies. I want to live to watch them walk across the stage. Yeah, I want to live. So God has honored my prayer, and my youngest, as of February the 14th, is now 18 years old. So we will see, but so far so good, and he's done exceeding abundantly above all I can ask, think, or even imagine.
So, quick question. When you said the neurosurgeon, went the first surgery, you said he went in the wrong way?
The wrong way.
What, did they not have a map of your brain to tell where the tumor is and all of that stuff?
So they did, but okay. So they did not know the way. I don't think that was his. He was a neurosurgeon, but I don't think my tumor was something that he was accustomed to. And the only reason why I say that is because I was in my 30s when this took place, and they said, my late 30s, but they said that this type of tumor doesn't manifest in people my age. It normally manifests in people in their 60s. So I don't know if he had a certain, age bracket that he would normally do surgery on, But they were already intense with knowing that they were going to have to do surgery on me. And then they only wanted to do it once. To have to do it twice, they were already going against the odds, because what I was told was, had he proceeded with that surgery, I could have ended up a vegetable. So he had to make a judgment call to stop the surgery 6 hours in. The second time they did it, it took 9 hours. So, and then a lot of people don't know that I'm walking around with a tumor in my brain. So first of all, I give that to God, because there's a lot of people that don't have that testimony. And so the fact that I survived it twice and now still have it, and then I'm operating the way that I'm operating, I know that that's not me. So yeah. But yeah, to answer your question, I just don't think that he was aware. Right. I think that I was like trial and error. And when they saw my brain swelling up, he was like, yeah, we're going in this the wrong way. So yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I was literally a guinea pig.
That's wild. That just goes to show, hospitals, doctor, like that's surgery. It's still practice.
It is.
It is still practice at the end of the day.
It is.
Lord.
And that explains why everybody, I don't know if you remember, when I told them, because you did not want to leave my bedside after surgery.
Yeah, so after surgery, they called themselves talking about she can't have no visitors.
Yeah.
Boy, I was a little crybaby that night.
A little baby.
I literally cried myself to sleep.
Yep.
The nurse was like, all right, we're gonna let him stay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I literally cried myself to sleep.
Yeah.
I was like, nah, you're not taking me from this room.
Yep.
I'll throw a whole fit.
Yep. They made it.
So I don't like hospitals now.
They made an exception for my son. So he was like, I'm not leaving my mama's bedside. So they literally had to bring a cot in, and I was in ICU. So technically he wasn't supposed to be spending the night. But because he made a fuss about it, they were like, we're going to make an exception. He could spend the night. And then a nurse walked in, because I taught my kids to pray. I taught y'all to pray at a young age. So she walked in and saw, saw Josh praying for me. And she asked me, she was like, he's so young. I said, train him up. Train up a child in the way that they should go, and when they grow old, they will not depart from it. So then she asked me to pray for her.
Now, I don't remember that. I might have been asleep.
Yeah.
I don't remember that portion, but I do know I remember crying, and I remember the splitting headache I had when I woke up. I was like, I'm never crying like that again. I'm never crying like that again. The splitting headache, I was like, whew, Jesus Lord.
Yeah, it was very intense. But one thing that I learned in that season how much my children love me. I learned because Asia and Tenaria went to bat for their mama like their whole world depended on it. And when you're going through that, you're helpless. You literally have to depend. Whatever village you have raised, the people that you have connected yourself to, they become your voice. And so y'all became my voice. So yeah, we don't want to relive that.
Nah.
But I'm grateful that we overcame it.
I was like, I'm not leaving.
Yeah.
You're going to have to drag me out. And if you do, we're going to be squabbling. So... what's up? No,
Yep.
So, I've actually delved kind of into your podcast. But yeah, how did the podcast come to fruition?
Okay, so your mother's a divorcee. Deep down inside, I've always wanted to remarry. There is a podcast called the Dear Future Wifey podcast. Teresa R. Whitfield is actually the creator of that podcast. So I would watch that podcast, and every time that I would watch it, actually Tenaria's uncle, Troy Knowles, they're good friends. So, I found that out after the fact. But anyway, one day I was just sitting there, and I was like, I want to do a Dear Future Hubby podcast. So me and Stephanie went out to eat. She celebrated my birthday. So this is 3 years ago. So 47th year. So yeah.
3 years.
So she celebrated we went somewhere to eat, and I looked at her and I said, she's like, so what do you want to, what are your goals for this year? And I was like, I think I want to start a podcast. Now I had started it before, and then I got discouraged. So, because what happened was your big sister, Troy, had sent me a microphone. And he told me, he said, keep up. He had listened to one of my podcasts, and he was like, keep up the good work. So when I showed it to your sister, she was like, he probably spent about $10. Hey, that ain't no big deal. I don't know why that crushed me, but it crushed me. I stopped podcasting. Mm-hmm. So when I saw Teresa, and I was like, I could do this. Mm-hmm. So when Stephanie said, what do you want to do this year? I was like, I think I want to do a podcast. She said, if anybody can do it, Teresa, I know you can. Fast forward. 3 days later, I sent her the graphic design that I created for the Dear Future Hubby podcast. She was like, we were just talking about this. 4 days after that, I sent her the clip. She was like I said, if anybody can do it, you can do it. So then I sent that to Teresa. I inboxed him, send it to him because I wanted him to listen to it, get his seal of approval. Didn't get a response, but it's okay. At one point, I did get a response from him because what happened was, a friend of mine was like, girl, you're on Apple now. So she was like, I said, look up Dear Future Hubby podcast, and you popped up. So I let him know that she was inspired by that, and he said, thank you for sharing. So he actually was my inspiration. And then I wanted to be different. Mm-hmm. So he, as you, was doing the visual. Because I had, selling jewelry, I've been doing visual for a long time. I wanted to step outside of that, and I wanted people's ears. Mm. I didn't want their eyes. I didn't want people looking at me, critiquing me, and I just wanted their ears. So that's how that ended up being an audio.
Kind of like a morning talk show.
Yeah,
how it goes?
Yeah.
I
was like, I don't use your imagination, because I feel like that has been lost. Is that we use so much visual things that we don't use our imagination. So I wanted to tap into that. I wanted to imagine my future hubby. Mm-hmm. I wanted to imagine him, because I used to write letters. I still do, but not as much. I used to write letters to him because Teresa writes letters to his future wifey. So I took that idea and started writing to my future hubby. Mm-hmm. The more authentic I became, I was like, okay, that's just going to have to evolve. So I don't do it on every single episode. I kind of feel whatever's on my heart, and I go in that direction. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I want to write a letter to my future hubby. Sometimes I don't. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I just want to talk to the audience, because at the end of the day, it's really about relationships. And so what I've discovered is that before I can be a wife to anybody, I got to be right with me.
Amen. I
got to be right with God too.
Amen.
So my journey has been, I've gone on this journey of self-discovery, and okay, even if you have an expectation, the reality is I could expect a future hubby that may never manifest, but I have a true husband in God. So technically I'm already married. Mm-hmm. Do you see what I'm saying? So I try to operate in that regard. I try to operate in the way of I'm already committed to you. I don't show up like everybody because I'm not super religious. You're not going to... I curse. I
drink. No,
I drink. So I'm not the standard Christian, as people would say. I'm not the poster child. So if anybody is looking at me, you gonna stumble and fall.
I feel like that's what
I'm transparent.
I feel like that's what Christianity should be, bro. Is that's the people who Jesus was hanging around. Is the non-poster children.
The 100.
Literally.
And so that's why he's one of my best friends, and I believe I'm really one of his too. Is because I don't fake the funk. I'm not gonna put on airs for nobody. What you see is what you... Now I love with his love, but I'm not gonna put on a front to make somebody feel comfortable.
Right.
If I have a bad day, you're gonna know it. If I have a good day, you're gonna know it. But I'm not gonna sugarcoat it because I love God. That I'm not her. So yeah.
I mess with it heavy.
Yeah.
Cause a lot of people be like, oh, I wanna put on airs, I wanna act like I'm holier than thou, and
I can't do it because I'm not. I don't know if y'all just tuning in, but I said I got 6 kids. 4 of those 6 kids was out of wedlock. But I've still been having a relationship with God since I was 16 years old. You do the math. But yeah. I'm just saying.
You do the math is funny.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. So that's Teresa Reese. At the end of the day, I'm real, just like I'm a real human being going through real world problems, trying my best to stay saved and sane, and at the same time showing up in love, because that's all I know how to do. I just know how to love people, the good, bad, through good, bad, ugly, and indifferent. I just know how to love people.
So what was Teresa Reese like specifically? High school, college age, like 15 on to like 20. We'll stop it at like 25. Because that's usually when your frontal cortex develops, you turn into a human, an adult, all that stuff. So like between those adolescent years, what was Teresa Reese like?
Teresa has always been a nerd.
No.
I'm a nerd at heart. Yes, your mama is a bona fide nerd.
Don't let her gas.
I am still a nerd.
Don't let her gas.
I am still a nerd. So I show up differently. So people don't think that because they get caught up in the outer. But I'm constantly reading books. I'm constantly trying to get some type of knowledge. I'm ever learning. And I love to talk. So it's like, literally as a teenager, when I think about it, the same thing that I was doing then is what I'm doing now.
Right.
So
they say you are who you are.
Right. So I was writing poetry when I was writing skits. I won a contest. I had at work, they did like a Valentine's Day contest, and they were like, the poem that I wrote, I left it at the house, and I had 10 minutes to turn in a new poem. I turned in a new poem and won the award. Got free everything. What?
Some people got talent for real. Like some people, like they have to work hard at their stuff, and some people are just gifted to be able to turn in just a sleight of hand poem and win. I know them other kids was mad.
Well, this was at work, so they felt some type of way. But then also, so I've always written. I've always been very articulate. You know, your Nana was a Jehovah's Witness, so we had to do talks. She said one of the talks that I told her to do, the skits that I told her to do, got a standing ovation. So my imagination, I've always been a user of my imagination. And then one time, you don't know, well, Mr. Charlie, you remember him.
Yeah.
So Mr. Charlie, his wife back then was Miss Kitty. I was sitting on her little step. She used to do hair. So I was sitting on her step. I'm in a newspaper. So your mama's face as a little kid is on a newspaper because they were coming by doing an article on her, and I was sitting there and they wanted to take a picture of me. So I've been in some way, form, or fashion. Oh, you don't know this. So the company that I work for, that I'm not going to say the name, I was just featured in the Black History Month. I got to write an article, and they featured me in that article. And when I thought about it, I put it in this proper context. And I was like, let's think about this for a minute. We have thousands of people that are employed at this company. The fact that I was asked to write an article of all these people, and then not only was I asked to write it, which I'm sure other people submitted articles as well, but mine was selected, and it was literally my quote was also quoted. I was born for this.
Right.
I was born for this. It may be in different dimensions, but I was born for this.
She's always been a writer.
Always. I've always written. I write so many funerals. I do so many dedications for funerals. So I had a friend of mine, her mother just passed a week ago. And I told her, I was like, do you want me to write a poem? And she said yes. I said, you got it by end of business day. She's like, Teresa, I'm glad to have you as my friend. So yeah, got her mama her poem. So yeah.
What was you nerding out about?
So
what's something you were nerding out about? Because you can't say a nerd and then not have nothing.
So I've always been into. I dibbled and dabbled. So science was my thing at one point. I never liked math though. Math was never. Isn't it crazy how I didn't like math, but now I'm working with numbers all the time. So I deal with payroll support all the time now. So that's crazy to me. I didn't like it in high school, but I love it now. So that's something that I guess I just didn't nurture back then. But like social studies,
well, they was teaching like rudimentary math. It was
maybe that. Yeah, it wasn't my thing. But to be honest with you, I think I was so much of a nerd. Part of me tried not to be a nerd because I wanted to fit in with people. I could test just like you. I don't have a photographic memory like you, but I was always an A student. And so I think at one point I just got to the point that people were judging me for being so smart that I started playing like I was a smart so that I could fit in. But I've always been about learning, educating myself. I love to learn. I have a passion for that. One of the things that I love reading. So I just realized not too long ago, I got 112 books in audiobook. And I know people go, that's not the same. Well, technically, you still got to pay attention.
Right.
So
because I'll fall asleep to an audio.
Right, exactly. So you still got to pay attention. So, but yeah. I just love, to answer your question, social studies was my thing. I loved history. Now I love it more now. But I was into it. And so, I think that's why I get so much into the Bible. Like I'm so into the Bible, like the stories in the Bible. Because I love history. And then I like to, for me, the older that I'm getting, they say history repeats itself.
Oh, yeah.
So what I try to do is see, like, where am I falling along that spectrum?
Right.
In terms of history repeating itself.
You think like all the lessons that you've kind of learned throughout the life, have you repeated any of them if you had to think about it?
I have 4 kids.
Okay. Well,
4 kids out of wedlock. Yeah, and then you would think, so the way that we were raised, me and your uncles and your aunt, the way that we were raised, you would think I wouldn't have had any kids out of wedlock. But there's something about being raised by strict parents. Mm-hmm. Some people, because they are under the roof of strict parents, they wouldn't dare do anything to compromise that. Some people like me, the moment that I got out from under that strictness, I went haywire. So, I tried my best, and I know I was strict. One thing that I know that I did that y'all were like, you're so strict. I wouldn't let y'all spend the night with nobody at nobody's house unless they were family. But one of the reasons why I was that way is because of what I went through. Mm-hmm. So I was trying to shield y'all from going through what I went through growing up. Because you can't trust that the way that you're bringing up your kids, that other people have that same mindset, and you don't know what people's proclivities are.
Right.
So you don't want to make your children a victim because you didn't do your homework. So yeah.
I remember you picked me up. This was my friend. This is back in middle school. My friend was like, I'm scared of your mom, and I'm like, duly noted. I was trying to spend the night at one of my friend's house. You called me, like, where are you at? Send me your location right now.
Yep.
And I was like, dang it. You came, it was like, I don't know, maybe midnight?
Yeah. I remember that. I still remember
screaming
that.
Screaming down the street.
That to this day. When they're down south?
Yeah.
Yep. I remember. I'm not, and then had 2 brain surgeries.
Screaming down the street.
Yep.
I was like, I'm dead. I'm dead.
Because y'all are my children, and I wanted to make sure that y'all had a fighting chance. And some of those experiences, I knew once you got grown, you could have as many sleepovers as you wanted to.
Oh, no, I ended up doing no sleepovers.
But you see what I'm saying? But it's just like, some of that stuff, right. But some of that stuff, I was like, y'all can wait. Let it be age appropriate,
Ain't no sleepovers over here.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm like, low key, I'm actually kind of glad you was like, don't do no sleepovers, because I'm like, I can't imagine sleeping anywhere else but my bed.
Yep.
But anyways, thank you for that story time. Now I have one final, like, think piece.
Okay.
So towards the end, I do like a first time for everything.
Okay.
So this is the first time for everything. The first time you felt like an adult, like when you felt like I'm really doing this adulting lifestyle.
When my car got repossessed.
Which one?
When we stayed by Miss Rucker.
Oh.
You might not have been alive yet. So it's me. You might not have been alive.
I don't know who you talking about.
Excuse me. Okay, so when I got my car repossessed, I realized I was a whole adult. Couldn't call nobody to bail me out. Had to deal with that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I had, that's right, because it was just Tenaria. Yeah, so you weren't here yet. So it was Tenaria, Asia, and Aaron. We stayed in a duplex, and I was behind by 90 days because everything that could have went wrong in my life had gone wrong in my life. Mm-hmm. And so I was trying to hold on to this very nice Chevy. Went to go to work the next morning. This is how naive I was. I was like calling 911. Somebody stole my car. They were like, ma'am, your car has been repossessed. And the fact that I could not finance to get it back out, because you know you got to pay a whole lot of money. So I had to pay the 3 months and all that. And I was like, well, okay. So that made me realize I was grown. Mm-hmm. And then I had to figure out how to maneuver my life with that situation. Now, God is an awesome God. That's why, you know, if you don't believe, I don't understand it. Because what ended up happening for me, that's when your godmom came into my life. So when after I prayed about everything, confessed everything to God, one of the things I had to confess, which most people don't like to confess, I was a poor money manager in that season of my life. And because I was a poor money manager, I reaped what I sowed, which was a repossession. Once I confessed all of that,
she reaped what she sowed, and they repossessed
that. So once I confessed that, it's like he could open up those doors that no man or woman could shut. And so my godmom stepped into my life, and the rest was history. I got transportation. She showed me how to manage my money, and I never have experienced that since.
Mm-hmm. That'll teach you.
Yeah.
Them people taking your stuff.
Oh, yeah.
and you can't do nothing about it.
Yeah.
Because it's your... yeah. Now, when they... actually, it was like the first couple of months. I got a notice on my door because apparently my check had bounced.
Yep.
And they were like... eviction notice. Not eviction notice, but they were like, pay up
you gotta
or you about
out.
to get an eviction notice. And I was like, oh... They not kidding with it. Mm-hmm. And the thing is like, it's not that I didn't have it.
Right.
It's just...
You didn't know that they were going to do... Yeah.
I didn't know it was going to bounce, and I also didn't realize the account that I was using in. So I have my money in 2 different accounts.
Right.
The account that I tried to use to give them their rent, it was... what's called... Somebody had already taken money out of it.
Oh, wow. Okay. So then it was short.
It was short.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. They didn't care.
Yeah, they don't.
And they'll tack on an extra late fee.
Yes,
they don't
will.
care.
And there's no feelings attached. It's just business.
It's
That's
just
business.
The way
they look at it.
It's just business. But when the various amounts of time when oh no, you don't know this. So in Houston, when me and Tito went to that Cat Williams concert, the night of the concert,
right?
You can't. There's no street lights down there at a certain point, so like I couldn't see nothing.
Yeah.
I ended up clipping a median and separating my rims from 2 tires. So I'm thinking I like flattened my tires or something.
You needed the whole.
I needed the whole. It was on the right side, or sorry, the left side. Both of those tires were out.
Wow.
So I had to get a tow truck. I had to pay for a tow truck.
Yep.
I had to pay for them to weld my wheel rim back into place.
Wow.
Both of them.
Wow.
And then pay for them to put it on. That was like, so the tow truck was like $80-something.
Yep.
The welding was like $200-something. And that was on a weekend. Luckily, I got paid and I had a savings account, so I was like, I can afford this L.
Right.
But I was like, yeah. And I'm in Houston, so I was like, if I had a flat tire or anything, I have specialty tires.
Yeah.
So it would take a while for them to get my tire. I was like, bro, if this could have ended, this could have been worse.
Right.
But the fact that I just had to cough up. Also, I gave you your money, so I was like, the fact that I just had to cough up like $500 for a trip that I was only planning to spend like $2.
Wow.
Yeah. So I don't go nowhere now.
But see, the thing of it is, that's a hard lesson. Excuse me.
Oh, I pay attention now. 10 and 2. No, I'm just playing.
Yeah, you funny. But now, one thing that I've learned too about adulting, just like you just said, you had money set aside for those unexpected expenses. Mm-hmm. And part of being a money manager is making sure that you have that avenue of being able, if something, an emergency pops off, I need to be able to make sure that I can fund this emergency, and on top of that, still maneuver how I live my life so that it's not a major disruption. And when I was growing up, I didn't get that education. So a lot of the decisions that I made were decisions that led to mistakes, because I didn't know any better. They say when you know better, you do better. So as time has gone on, I look at paying bills now like it's a game. Soon as I get my paycheck, we knocking all this stuff off. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't have time for you to be calling me talking about this is due. I like peace. You know, it makes me feel good to know my bills are paid. Right. Now I may only have $100 in my bank account after all of my bills are paid, but at least I can check the fact that they're all paid.
Yeah.
So
I make sure I pay myself first. The bills go.
Oh, I do that too. Yeah. Now don't get me wrong, I do pay myself. But one thing that I've noticed, because birthdays, we got 10 of them in February.
Yeah, we done locked February down. That whole the first 2 weeks of February is locked down. We got a birthday for every day.
Just about. And now that I realized that, I was like, my finances, February is always going to be where it's just like you got to replenish your savings in March. Because what I end up doing is trying to make sure that my family feels loved. I've been told I need to reevaluate that. Because, yeah.
They're going to be loved.
It ain't like my family members are, y'all are not cheap. But yeah.
I'm cheap. I don't want nothing.
I hear you.
I don't want nothing.
I hear you.
Look.
But
y'all could have bought me a PC. I bought it by myself.
If you ask me, you know I'm going to go and move mountains to get it.
Right.
So, yeah.
Nah, I try not to ask for nothing.
Yeah, that's one thing that Roger has noticed about you. He was like, he's a good kid, but he tries his best not to ask for anything. Which makes us want to do more for you.
I don't know why. I'd be like,
because some kids are always like they with their hands out, like your little sister.
Like the Gross sisters.
Yeah.
You know Proud Family?
No. What?
You don't know Proud? Well, you just said you don't know Proud Family.
No.
It's a cartoon series on Disney. They got these sisters. They're like triplets. They just always got their hand out. They just always got their hand out. But yeah. Now I try not to ask for nothing because. Yeah, it just, if I don't got it, shoot, I'll find a way to get it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But no, that makes me want to do more. I mean, all of y'all know that y'all. Now, please don't get it twisted. Being the author of 2 books, having an international podcast, and working for a multi-trillion-dollar company does not make me rich. Just want you to know that. But what I do have. My kids are very much aware that if I got it, they got it. And I'm saying rich yet, because my wealth is on its way.
Amen.
So yeah.
Oh, speaking of which, when you think of like wealth, what does that definition mean? Because for me, I want to have FU money. So I'm just like, get out of my face, go this way. Right. But other people have different definitions of what like wealth means to them. So what does yours mean to you?
So part of it is making sure that the legacy that I've worked so diligently to build for my children, that it will be sustainable for not just y'all, but for Amar and the grandkids, and then the grandkids' kids. So part of the legacy is for me to get the staff that I need to bring all of those parts together, so that way it's residual income. And then my vision is for y'all to always know, because my mother has worked so hard to establish this, if this employer is treating me this way, she got a whole legacy set up for us. We can go in this avenue with this legacy. We can go in that avenue with this legacy. Like, we got something. Mm-hmm. So it's like that part of my wealth is making sure that y'all will have somewhere to go, in terms of, like, if this world goes south, does whatever it wants, that y'all will still always have a sense of belonging. And so for some people, they leave homes and they leave finances. I wanted to leave my brand, to where y'all could turn it into whatever. That's what I wanted to do for y'all. So a part of my feeling as if wealth is, due me. That's that entitlement talking, sometimes we just, but anyway, so, but part of the wealth for me is just not having to check in with anyone but God.
Right.
Like, starting my day off and not having to clock in anywhere. Getting up when my body tells me it's time to get up.
Because the body don't naturally wake up until after 10 a.m.
Absolutely.
Why are we starting anything before then?
Right. Like, getting up whenever my body's telling me, okay, girl, let's go. Going where I want. If my kids say they need me and y'all are in Africa, me being able to get on a dang flight or jet and get there. If you telling me you in Greece and you need my help, wherever you are on the planet, being able to have the ability to get there and don't feel no ways tired because my business is taken care of.
Right.
So, and owning. I want to own my land. I want to own my assets. I'm tired of being the borrower. I want to be the lender. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
I think I've been seeing or observing, I think most, like, generational wealth, mm-hmm. it kind of builds when you get the family involved.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, just food for thought.
No, I do agree with that. That's one of the things that I tried to do, but y'all didn't like my ventures. So I was like, okay, well, we'll just have to, y'all done tried a whole lot throughout the course of my journey of adult life. And my kids are just like, nah. But the fact that I see you doing podcasting, I was like, okay, well, maybe my legacy is going to go this route. And that's fine with me. But at the end of the day, I wanted, even with y'all seeing me do, like Teneria's doing hair. Mm-hmm, I was a independent contractor for a long time doing hair, licensed cosmetologist for a while. So, like, to see certain things, Asia, the poet, I see that. So I see my legacy. Ariana's a comedian. People tell me I'm funny. So it's just like I see it just being displayed in different ways. Xavier being like the interior decorator. Y'all know I love to decorate. So. But the thing of it is to be able to bring it together and allow it to marry. That's where you build that legacy. Mm-hmm. And once you do that, it's like there's no limit. There's no limit. You're able to do and accomplish great things. And so if I've instilled anything in y'all, and I feel like I have because I see rays of it. I see rays of it in each of y'all. And so all those different ventures that I went through, one child took nuggets from here, another child took nuggets from here, but y'all paid attention to my journey.
And then manifested, excuse me, manifest. I see it, in the siblings. I'm like, we all took something from mom in a different fashion. I'm like, you were like, you're a nerd, so I'm like, okay, cool. I took that facet from her. I'm like, and Xavier took the more creative side.
Yes.
Ariana's.
She's a work in progress.
She is a work in progress, but she is funny, dog.
She's funny.
When you get her to actually talk, I'm like, you are hilarious.
She really is. We have like her. I told her I'm gonna get on the podcast one day, but her sense of humor. I said, you are really funny. You just, and it's like the dry humor.
Yeah.
By the time that she realizes,
by the time you realize she cracked the joke, you're already laughing 10 minutes in. So yeah, she's funny.
I got some good kids. I don't care what nobody say, hands down. Y'all are no longer kids. Y'all are young adults. But
everybody grown.
Yes, but I have been blessed beyond measure with mine. Can't speak for everybody else's kids, but like someone brought to my attention not too long ago, you got grown kids and ain't none of them incarcerated. Mm-mm. They all got a good head on their shoulders. They are all educated. All of them are educated. They've all been to college. Except for Ariana. She's in high school still. But they've all been to college.
shout out to my siblings when Ariana, you're the last one. When y'all turn, when every last one of us is past 21, I'm drinking y'all under the table. I just want that to be known.
You just want to be known.
I just want that to be known.
Hopefully by then you'll have a different goal. I'm playing. But, so yeah, I feel like I've been blessed. Mm-hmm. I feel like, y'all have not. So a lot of parents, they go through challenges with their kids. Regardless of the fact that I was a single mother for the most part, mm-hmm. y'all have not challenged me. Y'all have championed me. And a lot of parents can't say the same. Some can, but a lot of parents can't say the same. But even in my endeavors to try to be, I remember when you made the comment, I was telling you what my goal was for y'all. You said, Mom, that's so nice, but we really want you to do something for you. Because I've gotten so programmed of making sure y'all are good, and now y'all are young adults. It's like, okay, Mama, you can do you now. So to have that release, that smells so good. But to have that, it smells so good.
I do this.
But it smells.
I do this. Smell good. I know. I do this when it comes to smelling good.
Yes,
I do this.
So good.
I do this.
Whatever that is, I'm gonna need that.
I do this.
Yeah, that's a nice diffuser.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
Hey.
It's the way it did. Oh, it was so subtle, y'all. But
subtle. It just sneak up on you. Then you just
fragrance is like, oh my God. That smells real good. Yeah.
I do this.
That's good, son. That's real good. But yes, I'm extremely proud of y'all, and the fact that let me tell you one thing, because y'all people probably will never know this. What I love about my children. So for those of you who don't know, I lost custody of my oldest 3 children when they were 8, 4, and 2. And to see us now, you would never know it. Mm-hmm. You would never know it. And the way that my children call me, glean from me, there was one thing that I would do, and I've done it their whole lives. I would give them 3 kisses. Do you know why I gave y'all the 3 kisses?
I know why you gave the older 3 kisses. Okay, I don't know why you gave it to us.
Yeah, the 3 kisses represent the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So even if I couldn't touch them, if they received the 3 kisses over the phone, I knew they were covered. So that was my way of covering my children even when I wasn't in their presence. Mm-hmm. And one thing that I've noticed is that it don't matter how grown they get, they will call me back if I don't give them 3 kisses. Not only that, the way that they are with each other, it's a bond that is so extremely rewarding and beautiful to watch. Mm-hmm. How they engage with each other, how they interact with each other, how y'all love on each other. It is that right there is my reward. Mm-hmm. That right there, seeing that it didn't matter how much turmoil we went through growing up together, that fact that love really does conquer all, and for me to see it live and in living color, that's the greatest reward for me.
Yeah. You don't know this.
That's the greatest reward.
But me and Aaron, what's it called? Amar's birthday, like that night, we actually, we had went out. We had a real heart to heart. It was beautiful.
That's good.
Like, this is cool.
That's good. So I love that. I love the fact that, and then the fact that my daughters and my sons will call me for godly wisdom. So I get asked a lot to pray. I get asked a lot for my insight. Mm-hmm. I get asked a lot for my guidance. And a lot of kids, when they get grown, I'm going to do it my way.
Yeah.
My kids, they are still seeking guidance. My oldest is 31 years old, still seeking guidance, prayer, understanding, clarity. And I'm grateful for that, because a lot of kids, they can hold their trauma against you and be like, I'm done. My kids, it's almost like the trauma that we went through helped knit us together. Mm-hmm. And make us more solid.
I think it's because we chose for it to do that.
Yeah, that's true.
It's some people, it's like, I'm gonna use this trauma, like you said, it kind of separates the bond that they have.
Right.
I think it's one of those things where it's like, And I was talking to Aaron about this. He was like, bro, we obviously, we went through some BS, but it's like, we're all grown now. So we can make that decision of being like, okay, we're going to use this trauma.
Right.
And allow it to grow closer together.
Right.
Rather than it trying to separate us.
Right.
It very well.
It could have easily.
Yeah, literally easily. Because it's not like we, it's not like we had the closest of relationships.
Right.
But that was for circumstances outside of our control.
Right.
And that's just what life is gonna give you L's.
It is.
It's gonna make it its mission to give you L's.
Yes.
But I'm very proud that we were. I guess that's just the forward thinking that that's been instilled in us. But it's like we were just like, you know what, we're gonna use these lessons, and we're gonna turn them into that, and we're gonna grow something from it.
Yeah.
So.
And it ended up like it's made us stronger. And not only that, we've all been able to convey to each other our boundaries. As we've all grown up and had our we've been able to identify what trauma had impacted us and then create boundaries so that we could show up still in our authentic self, still loving each other, but at the same time loving ourselves. Mm-hmm. So you didn't ask me, but you asked other people, Mom, how is your mental health? That's how you don't even start off.
Mm-mm.
You did with your best friend?
Oh, that's just because she was telling me beforehand that she was dealing with stuff.
Well, how was your mental health? Okay, because I was like, I want my son to ask me that
I have this one friend who asked me. She asked me. She basically says, "How are you doing mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually?" So I'm gonna ask that to you.
Okay, so mentally, I'm in a much better place because I have a therapist and I have a life coach. Mm-hmm. Physically, I could always do much better. But I will say this. My doctor gave me, even though I still got those specialists that I got to see, my doctor says she won't see me for the next 6 months. So to me, that's a praise report.
Right.
She said my blood pressure is the best it's been. So for those of you that don't know, I've been battling with high blood pressure for a very long time. What we did mentally, we did
physically, emotionally, and spiritually.
Emotionally, my youngest child turned 18. I've been a nervous wreck. Not in a bad way, just in the fact that I've prayed for this for so long that the reality when it hit me, it's one of those things that you be like, okay, God, I was just playing. Because of the reality is
you're strong. You're for real.
It's like it happened. Like when I was going through the process of rearing y'all up, I couldn't wait for y'all to be grown.
I couldn't wait to be grown.
Right, but now that the reality has hit that I have no kids, I have grown adult children, it shifts everything about me.
What cruise you gonna go on?
So, to be honest with you, when I think about cruises, I want to go to Greece so bad, or Ireland. I want to go to one of those two places.
Why are you trying to go to these white places? Let's go to Africa. No, I was playing.
Well, I do want to go to Africa, but I don't know what part. So, like, our lineage is part of the Yoruba Nigerian tribe. Mm-hmm. So I know that I want to go and kind of figure out where that lands, you know what I'm saying, like what that looks like, how they eat, I know that that's
culture,
something that I want to know the culture a little bit more closely. So I know going to Africa, that I have a passport that I've had for now 5 years, and hello, COVID sucked. Let me just put that in the atmosphere.
COVID took away like 3 years.
Oh my goodness. So it's like now trying to figure out how to navigate around. You've had this passport. Now it's time for you to use it.
Right.
And I could literally use it because I don't have kids.
Right.
I'm grown now, so.
Yeah. I feel like a cruise would probably be the best way to start.
Yeah.
Because you get to like loosely experience these different cultures because they got a dock and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's probably cheaper than
traveling
to these countries and lodging and all that stuff. So.
Right. No, it should be in my near future. And then as far as spiritually, I feel like I'm more solid spiritually than I've ever been because a lot of the nuances of religion I have allowed to fall by the wayside. And I've always had a relationship with God, but now I'm showing up in His presence in a way that I feel like I was not allowing myself to do before. And now I'm just like, hey, you know what it is. So there's no point in me trying to pretend like I don't have to. No, this is who I am. This is how I'm feeling about this, period. What are we going to do about it? And He has a way of showing up where He's not offended.
Right. So I was about to say, when you say nuances, like, what does that look like?
When it comes to, like, there's so much that I've heard about what you shouldn't do and how you shouldn't operate in. But when I started reading the scriptures for myself, I read God is love. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the things that we're told that we shouldn't do, I really feel like some of those scriptures were written from a biased perspective. Because, like you said, the people that Jesus hung around, they were doing some of those things. There was a disciple that cursed. There was, so it's just like, I get that
there was a disciple that was a traitor, and Jesus knew he was going to be a traitor.